Scorpio, here's your November 2022 horoscope. November is going to be a really positive time for you to hunker in and kind of just focus on yourself. Your identity is up for review. You might be thinking about reinventing yourself. You might feel like you want to change some way about your physical appearance. Scorpio really loves to go through these big transformation cycles where you just totally reinvent your entire life. And that might be something that you're feeling in November. You might feel the first half of November like you want just a big change. You might, be happy. It's your season, November, the beginning of November, Scorpio season. So it's your birthday month. Happy birthday. And it's fun for you. You might be feeling like you're in this place of like, yeah, this is me. This is me time. It's time for me to, be selfish, not in a negative way, but just in a way that's self-love oriented and where you're reflecting a lot on how you share yourself with the world and whether or not the new you or the you that's moving into this next year of life, whether or not you're in alignment with the vision that you have for yourself. Scorpio can be a very visionary sign. A lot of Scorpio people have a tendency towards being really artistic. You're also really into your comfort zones and the things that make you you, but you like having those periods where you just kind of burn it all down and start over. And so even if it's not happening in an extreme way, it probably is, considering the fact that the eclipses are within your polarity, Scorpio Taurus polarity. But regardless of that, if you're having any inclinations towards really feeling this need to rejuvenate the self, rebirth the self, reinvent the self, that's supported, and that's a theme for you the first half of November for sure. The Mars retrograde energy that's lasting until January is definitely going to have an impact on your personal relationships with the people closest to you. So if you have any kind of financial dependency on anyone, whether it's a roommate or a partner, like a marriage or a boyfriend or any family members, there might be some negotiations around how those resources are getting shared. This isn't a good time for you to take out any kind of financial assistance or loans, but there might be something coming up at the end of November regarding your finances that is definitely going to need your attention. The last half of November is a little bit better for you financially. So if you've been kind of, concerned about money, things should be getting a little bit better for you, but you still want to be mindful. This isn't a good time to be overspending unless you've budgeted for that. If you've got savings and you're in a position where you can spend freely, then great. But I would also kind of be mindful about maybe some financial tolls that like circumstances that change that impact your financial situation more than you had anticipated. So like sudden financial losses or gains that you weren't anticipating are likely during this time. And horoscopes are so general that the way that this impacts Scorpio on an individual basis is obviously going to be so different. But those are themes. Your money is a big theme, especially the last half of November. The November lunar eclipse at 16 degrees Scorpio is obviously opposite your sign. And so Scorpio is all about release, death, rebirth, transmutation of energy, the underworld. And Taurus is the opposite. It's all about life and, it rules spring. It has to do with, rebirth in another way, but it's, I see Taurus is kind of like this Mother Earth energy, and Scorpio as, the Grim Reaper, death, and they both serve a purpose. They're both equally valuable. So with this eclipse and Taurus opposite Scorpio, there's going to be a lot of themes about that for all of us, but since it's in your polarity, it's impacting Scorpio and Taurus the most. You're probably going to feel that energy very, very intensely. It's time for you to do something different than what you've been doing. For a lot of Scorpio dominant people, it's really hard to anchor into something and work at it consistently because your inclination to want to change so much can override sometimes doing the boring stuff. And so you might find that this is a time where you're kind of having to decide between, do I stay and really work hard at this, or do I do what I like to do, which is transmute and completely reinvent myself? I personally feel like you're pretty supported right now on the reinventing of self, but that, you know, when it comes to your money, you might want to hunker in and be a little less impulsive. So this is a great time for like personal revamp, change your hair, change the way you dress, change, you know, maybe your living room, redecorate, you know, do things like that. But when it comes to, you know, big drastic changes like changing your job, things like that, I might not do that. I might hold out until the beginning of the year when we have less planets retrograde. At the, I would say February is a safer time in some ways. I haven't looked at all the astrology for that month, so don't quote me on that. But I would say just get through the end of the year with just focusing on yourself and not worrying too much about changing outside circumstances right now. It's not the best time for you. We have a new moon in Sagittarius that's happening on the 23rd. And so this is a really good time for you to set intentions around how you budget, and also around how you're valuing yourself. Self-worth is a big theme for a lot of signs this month, and it's definitely one that you're going to be reflecting on at the end of the month. So if you're looking at having more freedom in the work that you do, more freedom in how you spend, this is a good time for you to sit and kind of figure out how to create that for yourself. Again, not a super action oriented time, but a great time to set those intentions at the end of the month and reflect on that. The other thing that's going to be happening for you in November is possibly some pretty big shifts and changes in any relationship dynamics that you have. So if you're in a relationship, this might be a pivotal time for you as to whether or not you take things to the next level. So if you're in a relationship where you've been thinking about leaving the relationship, you might feel more inclined to pull the trigger on that in November. If you're wanting to push the relationship to the next level, maybe moving in together or having a difficult conversation on the future of the relationship, this is probably going to come up during that first November 8th eclipse in Taurus. Eclipses the energy lasts for about 6 months. So this is also the beginning of something that could be unfolding over the next 6 months. But any kind of make or break situation that you're in with a lover, a best friend, a business partner, this is a pretty pivotal time for you to be working on some of those things. So that's your horoscope for 2022. Good luck.